Welcome to Fiery Discourse, your podcast or media featuring dragonesses, female dinosaurs, and other similar saurians and scalies. I'm your host, Ludmillanon, and with me are my co-hosts, Angron, Mathmachine, and the Shark. Today is our 130th episode, our fourth and final Jurassic July of 225, and we're talking about the 2022 Fantastic Four comic issues, Saur Winners and A Thing or Two. So, let's get things started.
All the four. Dun, dun, dun. The Jurassic Four.
Say that again.
Yeah, well, good way to start. Good way to start it.
Say that again.
Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, the Fantastic Four basically are the first family of Marvel, as well as really the characters that just put them on the map. Like, of course, later on you had Spider-Man, the X-Men, and Wolverine and that. But it all really started with the Fantastic Four, and it really is interesting, like how their comics have gone out through the years and that. And this is actually from the most recent installment of their comic franchise. As the name suggests in the intro, it began in 2022, and it was written and drawn by Ryan North, who also is going to be relevant to this podcast in the future because he created the really awesome webcomic Dinosaur Comics, and comics is spelled with an X to make it sound cool.
Nice.
But yeah, basically what Dinosaur Comics is, it's the same exact artwork for the strip every single time, but the dialogue is unique. And that's literally what the whole thing is. It's made of clip art of dinosaurs, and it's the same clip art every time. But the way the dialogue is rewritten, it is so clever. It is so funny. It's been going on for literally, I think, almost 20 years at this point, and it's hilarious. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. It really, really is great stuff.
I most certainly
yeah.
will.
Yep, and we'll definitely talk about that in the podcast too some way. But for now, this is a very interesting version of the Fantastic Four, and we'll get started with it. The first issue we're going to be talking about, called Saur Winners, begins with the Fantastic Four meeting up with one of Ben's friends, as well as a former member of the Yancey Street Gang in a farm in Arizona. And basically what happens is Johnny is shocked that one of Ben's former friends is living in a place like that and reached out to him. Ben notes that whenever something weird happens, his friend always calls him, joking that it's almost like we're heroes or something. Forgive me for my terrible Ben Grimm impression. I'm sure others can do it much better than I can. Matt?
So, really big thing that has to be noted here, the art style for this, everyone else looks pretty decent. Ben Grimm is done really weird. I'm not sure why. It looks like his head is detached from his body and his head is just floating there. He kind of reminds me of Big Ed from 90 Day Fiancé because there is absolutely no neck there at all.
Nice.
I 100% agree. Like, I see the Thing in this comic, and all I can think is he just a head controlling a pile of boulders? Like, what's going on here? Like, it's so jarring seeing him like that. He also kind of looks like his head kind of looks like a crash test dummy because his eyebrows look like a little cap, and like his head has the same shape. It's just so freaking weird.
Yeah, what it is, it's too round. It's like almost too perfectly round, if that's basically what happened,
Yeah.
It's very, very weird, let's put it that way. It doesn't have a good look, let's put it this way. But yet everyone else, like Matt just said, looks fine. It's just Ben that looks really, really off. Like, I was always supposed to be like a rock man and that, but this is a little ridiculous. He looks kind of like the other rock man. Shark, you were going to say?
Perfect for children with no necks. Finally, a superhero for me.
Perfect. Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. So basically, Ben's friend Nick invites him in and has them meet Stuart, who is Nick's partner, I guess we could say, because the relationship between them are not clear, but it's clear that they're partners in some way, which is pretty good. Basically, Stuart tells them that the shimmer appears and disappears every few hours, and obviously it's Sunset Shimmer making a cameo appearance.
Nice.
Yep. Stuart asks Susan what her doctorate is in, and she has him guess. After a few wrong guesses, she claims it's marine biology, causing Johnny to do a spit take in shock, but it's probably the second best spit take in superhero history. after, of course, Incredibles 2.
Nice. Oh god, she just reminded me of this one meme where it's it's a restaurant scene where Violet is with Dash eating at the thing, and like the moment where Violet sees Tony, it's replaced with this one scene of Call of Duty updated. It immediately cuts back to her freaking doing a take. I'll share the meme with you later, but it's more hilarious to watch than explain.
It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, basically, what happens next? Then tells Stuart that she's an archaeologist as Johnny uses fire to clean up the mess. Stuart asks if it's like Indiana Jones, but she says that she's more interested in how the artifacts tell you how other people lived in that. What happens then, of course, is Nick takes him into the forest and asks Ben about his kids with Alicia, but Ben nervously changes the subject. Now, the reason for this is because Ben and Alicia's adopted children, as well as the Reed's children, they're basically all time displaced, and in turn that led to a rift in the Fantastic Four. This happened a few issues before this, and they're due to basically return back to this realm in like a month or so, but still, it's something that basically has them very on edge, and makes what happens a little later in the comic a lot more sympathetic.
See.
Yep. Nick then takes him to the Shimmer, which is basically a series of light waves floating in the sky. Obviously, Nick says it's a portal, but we know what it really is. SpongeBob is trying to clean off the crusty plate again.
No. You want to know what it really is?
Go ahead.
Aurora Borealis. At this time of day, at this time, in this part of the country, localized entirely above your forest. Yes. I'd ask if we could see it, but we already can.
Yeah, all good. But Nick says they threw some rocks in there that disappeared, but nothing happened. He notes that the portal doesn't stay for long, as Sue notices that it has also knocked down some trees. Richard peers into the portal as it suddenly expands, which ends up sucking the Fantastic Four all into it. Sue manages to save Nick with a force field as she tells him to call for help before being sucked into it and they all disappear. We then cut to basically the Avengers, or at least their most iconic basic elements, with Captain America's shield, Black Widow's outfit, Thor's hammer, and Doctor Strange's emblem, with Iron Man's chest piece, as they all talk about the strange thing that happened, and they're going to go and check it out. However, this is all done in close-up, because then we get the big reveal, the title panel, which shows the Fantastic Four trapped in a laser and magic cage, while it's revealed that the Avengers, as well as everybody else in this dimension, are dinosaurs. Yep, it's that old thing. So basically...
Oh, what a twist.
Upon seeing that page, just the natural instinct to go da 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 is overwhelming.
Yeah. Oh man, I wonder what the dinosaur equivalent of that would be like. Would there be like a Homo sapien park or something like that?
Yeah.
And if so, what would the meme be like? Holy fucking shit! It's a human being. Yeah, it doesn't really roll off the tongue as much as dinosaur, but their world, not ours.
But basically, the reason we're talking about this comic book in particular is because Black Widow and Captain Marvel are two of the heroes we see, and of course they're dinosaurs. As well as we also get to see a dinosaur version of Sue Storm in a little bit. Black Widow is a Quetzalcoatlus, and I have to say just one thing right now. Disney, if you wanted your Black Widow movie to have been a financial success, you should have just remade Q the Winged Serpent, but put Q in a Black Widow outfit.
I know, right?
I mean,
that would have made
just
so
imagine.
Much money.
It's the exact same movie, except Q is dressed like Black Widow. Nothing else changes. Literally nothing else changes. Go ahead, Angron.
Oh my gosh, now I have a mental image of the Red Guardian flying on Black Widow's back. That would have been so hilarious to see. Honestly, there's still time for Marvel to do that, so Disney, don't screw this up. And if you do, at least make it spectacular.
Easily. Basically, Captain Marvel here is a Lambiosaurus, and she looks pretty good in that. honestly probably better than the movie version. Haha.
I like the movie version, but I like the
Yeah, I know.
dinosaur version better.
I got used to it. You know, I'm not one of those 0 out of 10 kind of guys. That was all right. But yeah, Captain America is a Spinosaurus, and obviously that means one thing: his version of Red Skull works for Kirby Enterprises, aka Kirby Bath and Tile.
Oh my gosh.
Huh.
Yeah. And Iron Man is a Brachiosaurus, and definitely Iron Man has probably the best design because it's like the it's the Brachiosaurus sauropod thing in an Iron Man suit, and it looks so funny when he flies.
Yes.
Maybe a little unintentionally so, but man, it just looks so funny, you know.
I mean the Brachiosaurus wanted to fly, so he got his fish. Also, he is one of the only Brachiosaurus to ever fly in this universe, according to him. So, yeah, talk about living the dream.
Yep. But Iron Man basically notes that something weird has happened to the Fantastic Four, as in a really fun touch, and I'm really glad they did this, we see the Fantastic Four speaking in a gibberish language. And I do like that they did that. They put it from like the dinosaurs' point of view that they can't understand what these weird versions of the Fantastic Four are saying. It's all done in like some kind of gibberish language that doesn't even look like any intelligible letters. And that is such a really cool detail that they didn't have to do, but it's really neat that they did, you know? And they actually gave it like its own sort of feel. Go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, if only they realized that the Fantastic Four were trying to warn them about the old dinosaur people in the cars coming at them. Just like I can almost imagine who here? Oh yeah, I can probably imagine like Thor or Iron Man being like, "Calm down, we cannot understand you." Captain Marvel looks off in the distance, points and goes like, does like a parasaur hooting noise. That's pretty much the closest thing we get to Kenny's scream.
basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, also what happens though is the basically Tony notes that the cage is breaking as Doctor Strange tells him that if magic and technology can't contain them, nothing can. And one thing I do have to point out, it's very weird because even though it's a universe where everybody is a dinosaur, you know, and that like human beings never existed and that and everyone's a dinosaur, they still call him Iron Man. It's very weird. Yeah, you think that they'd call him like Iron Saur or Iron Brachio or something like that, you know? It doesn't, it's like, I don't know, it feels like the Jurassic League was a bit more creative in how they actually changed the characters' names, you know, to actually fit their new world a little bit better. This just feels like they're doing a little bit better with the world building, but that's just my take. Angron, let's see what you have to say.
Yeah, definitely something Jurassic League has over the Fantastic Four. The world building definitely shown more in that it did here. Like we have stuff like Wonderdon, Super Saur, Bat Saur, freaking Aquanix, Flash Raptor. Not the most original names, but they're still a lot more dynamic than just Iron Man but dinosaur, Thor but dinosaur, Doctor Strange but dinosaur, Captain Marvel but dinosaur. You're starting to get the gist, right? It's all just dinosaurs with their names, which I get it. They're not trying to copycat DC in that regard, but maybe a little more diversity couldn't hurt, you know?
Yeah. So, Shark, you were saying?
Yeah, I was going to comment on that, like, Jurassic League did a better job of, what if they just live, not only if they were dinosaurs, but if they actually lived during the prehistoric era, because here, it's a city. It's literally, the setting is it's a big city for dinosaurs, and, and like the powers, they have the exact same powers and tools from their human counterparts, compared to the Batman in Jurassic League, whose technology was rocks, bones, plants, so... Yeah, Justice League did a more effort in translating their characters into a dinosaur setting.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously, do more. You have the Avengers and the Fantastic Four, which we'll get to later, as dinosaurs. Do something with that. Like, do something more than just have them be themselves with dinosaurs. Like, the closest we get with that is the language barrier and using them as a sort of therapy for their own children and their own problems in their universe. Like, that's good, and I do like what they do later, building off some of the characters, like the Thing and the Dino Thing have a thing later, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, basically. So, Matt, you were saying?
I'm pretty sure some Marvel exec somewhere went, hey, if Universal can be lazy and just have dinosaurs appear for a few seconds and call it a day, we can too.
No.
Basically, yeah.
No.
Yeah,
Like,
unfortunately, yeah.
Even Universal did unique stuff with their dinosaurs. This is not entirely unique.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I have to definitely agree with you there. But basically, though, what happens next is that the Fantastic Four then break the cage as Doctor Strange saves Iron Man by blasting Ben away with energy. He then absorbs Johnny's flames and sends it right back to him as Sue lifts Thor's hammer and smacks him with it. Captain America goes to help, but he's hit by Johnny, causing him to drop his shield. Ben picks it up and holds it up as Thor throws his hammer again. The impact on the shield ends up causing an energy blast that knocks down the dinosaur Avengers. And again, they couldn't call them like Dino Avengers, but we ranted too much about that for now, so let's just continue. As basically Captain Marvel goes to help out Iron Man, we get a really, really creepy panel of Reed's stretched out face. This thing just looks so unintentionally nightmarish in a way. It has like, I think what it is, it's like a normal human face, but it's like stretched out horizontally. And it has a really kind of uncanny valley to it, at least for me. I go, Chuck?
Yeah, I love how the panel before that he has Iron Man dinosaur saying, "Oh, wait, I think he's trying to communicate with us." And then it cuts to Ray's stretched face, and he's like, "Okay, that's one way to talk."
Yeah, it's like you couldn't. I mean, Richard Reed. I mean, yeah, Reed. You're one of the smartest men who ever existed ever in the Marvel universe. You sure you don't want to find some other way to try and get things for them?
I see this, and all I can think of is Sheen. Like, I like the joke. Yeah, I like the joke you made of that. Give me a sec. I'll avenge you, Ultra Lord.
Oh God, it's the episode where he got the helmet and became too smart. Wow, he'll be really good at board games.
Yeah. Ultra Lord will be avenged. That's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
but
my gosh.
basically, he then notes that Reed is using the neural network of his suit in order to create a translator, then has his computer to make a note for further commercialization, which, okay, you never said they had that kind of thing in a dinosaur world, but regardless. In another really, really fun touch, Reed's gibberish language then begins to have normal words basically peppered in it throughout, before their speech bubbles finally have normal words. And that is, again, such a really creative way of doing it, you know?
Yeah.
Basically, doing how the translation machine worked. Go ahead, Angron.
It kind of reminds me of a scene from a game called The Longest Journey, where over time, as you when you end up in this weird chapel and talk to the priest who speaks in a language that you cannot ultimately understand, time, and after a few button prompts, he starts to speak your language a little bit, and it's kind of like that here, except technology helps with that. But that's just me.
Yeah, exactly. And basically, what happens, though, is that Iron Man is amazed that they can finally understand the humans and asks if they could do the same. Reed asks if it's really Tony Stark as he lifts his visor to reveal a sauropod's face. And number one, I don't know, something about this panel in particular really made me laugh. I don't know why, but actually really, really got a good laugh out of me. I think because they kind of leaned into like the inherent silliness of it, that it really did kind of work. And number two, I don't know why, but it does remind me of Land Before Time for some weird reason. Like, you know, this would be the timeline of Universal Studios kept the rights to all the Marvel stuff, you know? After they did the Hulk TV show, they kept the rights to all the Marvel stuff, and eventually we got a Jurassic Park Marvel crossover. This feels sort of like that. I'll go ahead, Angron.
Now I have a mental image of Littlefoot all grown up, except he's wearing the Iron Man suit, and he pops out and he's like, "Hello there." That's kind of like kind of what this moment is. He pops his suit out, is like, "Hello there."
Yep.
Good times.
Yep. The Fantastic Four explain what happens off panel as Captain America assumes they were corrupted somehow, then asks why would they attack the Avengers. Johnny says because they were caged up, then notes that it could have been a universe where, quote, our enemies dress up as superhero dinosaurs in order to confuse us, with him saying, it's happened before, and I do love this, that this does have some really good jokes. Reed basically says, it has not, in like an annoyed tone. That is a good joke, one of many, but anyway, go ahead, Shark.
No, I was going to comment on that they could have simply say that like, oh, we thought it was an evil dimension and leave it like that, but they follow it with two jokes. The first one being that he says, it has happened before, and the second one, the other one with the other guy responding, no, it has not.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. But yeah, basically, Sue is amazed at how close the dinosaur equivalents are to their human counterparts. Basically, finding out from Doctor Strange and Black Widow that their backstories are exactly the same. And this is another thing that did kind of disappoint me a little bit with this, that they could have been a little more creative with them with that as well, with their backstories, you know? Like, have it, like, eventually happen, but have the events leading up to it be slightly different, you know? Like, let's say it this way. Bat Walker's backstory wasn't him going through a crime alley after watching a movie with his parents. It was a lot more violent than that, but you get what I mean, right?
Yeah, seriously, all the backstories in Jurassic League had some unique dinosaur-themed thing around it. Wonderdon was pretty much a part of a herd of dinosaurs that were pretty much gods and had ultimately did a war long ago, except she was the only one who could at that point. And yeah, again, Batsaur pretty much having Jokerzard kill his parents in a more violent manner. And hell, even freaking, I mean, I don't want to say Super Sore, but yeah, I guess so. But yeah, they all have unique things going for them compared to Fantastic Four comics, which is really disappointing. I really wanted them to do something a little more unique, and I mean, they kind of do some unique stuff. The language barrier, again, is a neat idea, and there's some stuff that happens later, but again, we're saving that for later. Anyways, Math.
What are you talking about? They're not the same at all. In this universe, Dino Strange damaged his hooves, not his hands. They even addressed that. This is actually kind of impressively lazy.
Yeah, definitely. And Shark, you were saying?
Well, again, we were discussing, Jurassic League thought about everything. Every character has his backstory. Every character, it's translated with their weapons or the animals command controls. The Avengers. Here's Black Widow. She has scales. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. It felt a little off that way.
Again, even the Jurassic Park / World series had more originality than this.
Yeah, definitely. But basically, what happens next, though, is that Iron Man then notes that the dimensional portal leads to a universe where they're all primates, asking the human Fantastic Four what they call themselves. Basically, what happens is when they say humans, and Reed mentions the species name Homo sapiens sapiens, Tony mentions that you put smart in your taxonomic name twice. That's a bold choice. And that's another joke that actually got a good laugh out of me, you know? Because that is really in character for Tony Stark to do no matter what he is.
Definitely.
Black Widow, meanwhile, points out that their Fantastic Four called them for help, and with the humans being there, the dinosaur Fantastic Four are in the humans Fantastic Four's universe. Johnny points out that the dinosaur versions of the Fantastic Four are fine, and of course, we then cut to the dinosaur version of them fighting the human Avengers, and basically we'll talk about them in a little while. Kind of this is a preview of we see more of them, but yeah, Sue is also a dinosaur, so we're going to talk about her, of course. But basically, Reed then notes that they'll return when the portal arrives, but Tony tells them that they should either control it or close it right away, noting that it's a very dangerous world for mammals where they currently are. Tony then asks about their kids, so the Fantastic Four note that they're unavailable, as Tony mentions that here, the kids are just fine, and It makes me wonder, like, how Tony knows about their kids, like, through dimensions. I don't know what they were going through with it, but something that definitely is very, very interesting. Yeah, whenever it's, like, intentional or not. But what happens is he then introduces the dinosaur version of their kids to the human Fantastic Four, who are amazed. Nikki ends up transforming from her dinosaur form into a humanoid one as Ben embraces her. Sue ends up telling the dinosaur versions of her children that their human counterparts are okay, as they tell her that, quote, the other versions of them don't blame you for anything, as Ben also embraces Joe Venn. And here's where we get the moment that really just kind of made this comic go from great to just like, okay. The other Avengers just leave. Like, and that's literally the last we see of the Dino Avengers, is they literally just leave, you know? We got like one cool fight scene with them, and then like that's it, you know? Now it's really just yep. We just see like them and Tony and that. Tony, meanwhile, notes how awkward this is, then decides to show them all the city. We then cut to the Fantastic Four riding on Iron Man's back, with Sue using her powers to make the Fantastic Four a seat on him, which is a pretty cute touch. Reed then notes how amazing it is, as everything is scaled to dinosaur size, as Tony says that is partially why he made his suit, basically not only to escape the terrorists, but also in order to fly, which brings up something that, again, I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but it is something that I feel really needs to be brought up. It is weird that such a thing like that would exist in a dinosaur society, you know? Like they're doing just like one for one with like all their backstories, and when you think about it, it is very, very strange.
Jurassic League did a lot more unique stuff than this. And what do we get in here? A translation barrier. We get the Avengers and the Fantastic Four and their family even as sort of a therapy barrier to help them ultimately grow back closer and understand that things are going to be okay. And we also have this, where the Fantastic Four are on the back of a giant freaking ironclad sauropod. It looks nice. I do admit that the visuals look a lot better than what you could ultimately see in something like Jurassic Park or something like that. But everything else is just so uninspired. Like, I get it. The designs look neat. It's just basically the Avengers in dinosaurs, but that's just it. It's just the Avengers as dinosaurs, and we don't get too much out of that, other than a snippet from Iron Man. Other than the stuff we got from before, all of that's nothing. It is... It's honestly a little annoying that we didn't get more from the Fantastic Four, which I get it. Not enough time, and that wasn't exactly the point, but go the extra mile, guys.
Exactly. Exactly. So basically what happens next is that basically he and Sue talk about how amazing it is to fly before Reed interrupts, knowing that literally everything about their universe and the dinosaur one are identical. Even the Kree and Skrulls are dinosaur in nature, as well as other aliens, including Galacticus, who looks like a giant purple dinosaur.
Oh my gosh.
But basically, Ben asks Reed what is going on, as he says he has a theory as to why their universes are connecting. They get back to Tony's lab, where Reed notes how similar their universes are again, pointing out that quote, it's like Robert Dick's anthropic principle, with Tony basically correcting him, dinopic principle, which, okay, that's a cute joke. Could have done a little more like world building like that, would have been better, but it's still a really cute joke. Basically, Reed notes that despite the differences, the two universes are basically colliding with each other, and they can't exist in the same space, which is going to cause both of the universes to be destroyed, as Tony lets out a dinosaur swear. Ben says that he ain't gonna lose another set of kids, and comes up with the idea to blast the two universes in completely different directions. Tony notes that if they can blast enough energy in the space between the two universes, with Sue and Reed considering that they can redirect it into the alternate direction, it would solve the problem. The dinosaur Reed and Grimm kids argue with each other over which alternate universe primate dad is cooler and can beat each other up in a pretty good joke. So that's another joke that got a smirk out of me. We then cut to the Fantastic Four and Iron Man outside before the Fantastic Four all go through the portal as they begin the next part of their plan. However, only Ben gets to go through, as Reed is suddenly blasted and knocked out of there, and it turns out to be from, who else, Doctor Doom, which in this universe is a gigantic Tyrannosaurus Rex. He says that he sees the true potential of the portal, and that when the two universes merge, he will rule over all. And basically, this ends the
I am actually impressed by the laziness of this comic. They couldn't even call him Doomosaurus Rex or anything like that.
I mean, why go the extra mile if they weren't going to do so in the beginning?
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. That's very, very true. Again, some of that really is a shame because I could feel the potential. That's what it boils down to. You could feel the potential with it. But one thing I will say, I want to know how T-Rex Doctor Doom got scarred and why he has to wear a mask. I want to find that out.
Oh my gosh, I have a crazy theory on that. This version of Doom is Devil Dinosaur's father.
Huh.
That's just me, though. Anyway, Shark.
Yeah.
Considering how creative this universe is, it's gonna be the exact same backstory.
Probably. But yeah, basically what happens next, though, is we then get to the second issue we are discussing, which is titled A Thing or Two. It begins with Dr. Doom narrating how other portals appeared in the world, including in both versions of Latveria, and how the human Doom finally met someone that was his complete equal, his dinosaur counterpart. And it's like, okay, yeah, that tracks. Dr. Doom absolutely would team up with the giant dinosaur version of himself, you know? But the pair of them got to work on how to liberate both of their worlds. We then cut to Ben being teleported to the forest when he sees the human Avengers fighting the dinosaur Fantastic Four. And it's here we get, again, some pretty interesting designs. Basically, Sue, because she's the one going to be ranking, she is a Triceratops, which definitely is a pretty good look for her. Reed is a Tyrannosaurus Rex, which makes their relationship pretty interesting. Like I say, it definitely is a unique look. And like I say, I will say this. The Thing is kind of creative in how they made like a rock version of like a dinosaur, kind of like how the Thing looks normally. And I will give them credit where credit is due. They did a pretty good job with that.
Yeah.
But basically, Ben tells Iron Man that the dinosaur Fantastic Four are just responding to their attacks before mentioning that the dinosaur Fantastic Four are just as smart as the human ones and to try to communicate with them. Iron Man sarcastically blows it off, even after how Reed tells him about coming over with the translator. Basically, Iron Man then says, I'm happy to collaborate with T. Reed over here on the Dino Torch, which, yeah, you don't even want to listen to Ben's suggestion there, Iron Man? Go ahead, Angron.
Good lordy. Like, honestly, Susan Storm as the freaking invisible Triceratops, or at the very least, as a Triceratops in general, opens so many floodgates in that regard. Like, of all the dinosaurs, why a Triceratops? Like, her brother is a raptor, so like this.
Yeah, it would have made more sense to have her as a raptor. Come to think of it,
a little bit, yeah. But I will say this: honestly, it adds a bit of diversity, and it is one of the few spurts of creativity that this comic clearly have skimped on. So I guess we can allow that. Anyway, Shark.
Yeah, also, the nicknames Iron Man used to make fun of the dinosaurs were more creative than just giving them their actual same human names.
Yeah, that too. Like I say, definitely something that they also could have probably done better with, but regardless. Ben then comes to the conclusion that he does know one dinosaur word, using the swear that Dinosaur Tony used earlier, as in pretty much a funny joke. We get zoom-ins on the shocked eyes of all the dinosaurs, obviously because of one thing and one thing only. Ben said number 11. Yeah, they're probably gonna have to tell the Watcher now. Go ahead, Matt.
Yep.
So, looking at the Fantastic Four dinosaurs, there is sort of a logic to why they are the dino that they each are. Ben is a Packy because, well, obviously, rock, hard head, headbutting sort of
Exactly.
thing. Sue is a Triceratops because she uses her powers to shield people a lot. And Triceratops have the shield frond on the head. Reed is the T-Rex because leader, T-Rex king of dinosaurs.
So smart.
Johnny is Raptor because they're fast and they're fighting. That's kind of his style. So they make sense in that regard, but yeah, they make absolutely no sense in relation to how they work with each other.
I mean, they're diverse, and if Doom Patrol taught us anything, like just because they look different doesn't mean they can't really be family. So there's that.
That is very true point right there. But basically, what happens is he swears again as Dinosaur Johnny speaks, and in another fun touch, they speak the exact same gibberish language that the human Fantastic Four spoke in the dinosaur world. So, like I say, I do give him credit where credit is due. That is a pretty good bit of continuity right there. We then cut to the Dinosaur Fantastic Four, basically having somehow found a way to translate. Again, we only see this off screen, as Reed apologizes for attacking them. Johnny is playfully shocked at Ben for swearing, as Ben prepares to use human swears, with Johnny joking, "What would Aunt Petunia say?" Johnny then says that he will send both the human and dinosaur version of Ben with the device through the portal in order to separate the universes and save them both. Reed notes that the device is able to redirect energy into interuniversal mediums and offers to take the device himself, knowing that he is much, much larger than the human version of Ben. He is then interrupted by the human version of Doctor Doom, who says it is none of their concern and tells him to return to basically wherever their headquarters are. Tony calls him Victor as Doom corrects him. Tony then says that Doctor Doom is on American soil and is surrounded by both the Avengers, the dinosaur version of the Fantastic Four, and 2 Ben Grimms. Reed agrees with Tony as he then growls at, quote, Victor. And I will say this, the moment of giant T-Rex Richard Reed like snorting smoke at Doctor Doom's face, that is awesome. That is an awesome move right there. Like, say what you want about the rest of the comic, that is a cool scene. Like, you know. But regardless, Doom then notes that he is being too polite and blasts Reed with a red energy as it hurts him. Reed, as it turns out, is actually hurt from the blast as he wonders what the attack even was. Doom says it was from the energy of both of the dying universes as he blasts the human version of Ben. The Avengers all begin to charge at Doom as he explains how he can control the beams in order to blast them from one universe to the other. He then strikes Vision, who is hiding basically in the plain sight, knocking him out, as Doctor Doom says that he came to this universe to combine both this one and the dinosaur universe into one. Reed tries telling Doom the 2 universes cannot exist, as Doom says that his calculations are wrong. Doom basically plans on merging both the universes together so that both versions of him can rule. Tony tries telling Doctor Doom that he's wrong, but Doom says that they're wrong. It's literally basically, no, you're wrong! You're wrong! Which, to be fair, isn't that just Doctor Doom always? Like, no, Richard, you're wrong! You're wrong! That literally is his motivation all the time. Anyway, go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, that's pretty much Doctor Doom in general. What, you think I'm wrong? You are wrong. I will prove you wrong, even. Proceeds to get proven wrong. Say nothing! Anyway,
nice.
I thought that it was Richard who was telling him, because if there's one main motivator for Doom, it's always he has to prove Richard wrong,
Exactly.
no matter the odds. Has to be better. He has to be in the right whenever facing Richard.
Has to be Doom!
Exactly. Like I say, I give him credit is due. That is right on the character for him. But
yeah.
More like where credit is Doom. Oh,
Nice. That's a good one. But basically, Tony tries telling Doom that he's wrong, but then Doom says they're wrong and says that he can do it. He will kill anyone who attempts to stop him, basically blasting a quark in their brain. Reed and Sue then realize that Doom is serious and decide not to stop him, much to Johnny's shock. Reed then begs Doom to listen to them and use their plan, just as Doom prepares to leave inside the portal. Dinosaur Ben then helps Human Ben into the portal, pushing him along as they end up arriving in a space, quote, in between universes. Doom then calls the two of them, quote, the Brothers Grimm, and then he says, just one thing after another. Apparently, Dr. Doom is now trying to kill them with very, very bad puns.
Yeah. Also, it's
anyway,
kind of cute. Yeah, it's kind of cute that the Thing uses Dino Thing as a freaking sort of Yoshi-like style, because like, like the things are both so in tune with each other that pretty much they allow each other to do the thing, like allow Thing to ride on Dino Thing, and it's honestly an adorable little touch. Like I already said that these comics aren't exactly as freaking diverse or as inspired as stuff like Jurassic League, but moments like these kind of prove me wrong, but only just barely.
Yeah, I
But
can
that's
kind of
just
see
me.
why. Yeah, I can kind of understand why. Anyway, Matt, you were saying?
I think my favorite part of this entire two-issue thing was when Dino Reed was begging Doom not to do this, and Doom just responds, I'm Victor Von Doom. One universe was never going to be enough. That is such a Doom
Yeah.
line.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a really, really good line right there. But basically, what happens is Ben says that, oh, you're very clever, as Dino Doom says, odd last words, but fitting to go out praising us. And yeah, again, that too is another really good Dr. Doom line. The two Bens say that they want to watch as they admit that both versions of Dr. Doom cannot be defeated. Human Doom wants to basically let them watch, but dinosaur version of Doom wants to kill them. They then ask about how the new world will work with size, as Doom basically says, I thought of that already, which is another really good gag. Another good gag is Dino Ben asks Human Ben if Moon Girl and Devil Human can team up with his universe's counterpart, and why didn't we get to see that? Honestly, why did we not get to see that?
I swear if Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur doesn't have this in the series' possible third season or TV movie, whichever comes first, I'm gonna flip. I want to see that now.
Easily. But basically, Human Ben then asks one last question to both of the Doctor Dooms. Which one of them will rule? Both of the Dooms basically say that they will share the duty equally, causing the Bens to laugh hysterically. They then are shocked that the Dooms are serious, noting how one of them will eventually betray the other, not satisfied with being a co-ruler. Both of the Dooms claim that they're satisfied with being co-rulers, with Ben trying to say that they're eventually going to betray each other again. Human Ben is blasted by the energy, as he and Dino Ben basically say about what's going to happen, that eventually they already are planning to betray each other, but are just waiting to spring the right moment, with Human Ben asking which one's going to do it first. But before we get to what happens, go ahead, Shark.
Yeah, I heard you say the part where they ask that they are going to be co-rulers, and I think is King K. Ruler?
Okay, that's funny.
He would have been awesome. Him versus Doctor Doom, either version would have been amazing. If only. But basically, go ahead, Angron.
There's only one way to settle this, Dr. Doom. See who does the better foot dive from Marvel vs. Capcom.
Nice.
Foot dive!
But both of the Dooms basically try to ignore this, but eventually they both see an opportunity and attack each other. And in another good line, I like how Human Doom is all like, how dare you try to strike each other? But Dinosaur Doom just rolls with it. I do like that there is a slight difference in their personality. That is a pretty good one. The dinosaur version of Doom then puts the human version in his mouth, as the two Bens basically redirect the machine Doom was working on in order to separate the universe. Both of the portals appear. Human Reed and Sue tell the dinosaur version of the Fantastic Four to return to their own universe, as Dinosaur Johnny is actually worried what will happen to Dr. Doom in between the universes. Basically, Doom tells them to return, as they do not need thoughts and prayers, as both Dinosaur Doom and Human Doom prepare to fight each other, And again, we don't actually get to see them fight. Like, they basically hype this up for the whole issue, and we do not get to see them fight because, I don't know, I think human Doctor Doom could probably hold his own against a dinosaur version of him. Let's be real.
Yep.
And like I say, obviously, they also cut out what obviously is going to happen. Both of them eventually team up because now they're going to fight the Robert Downey Jr. version of Doctor Doom.
Nice.
I had to bring that up. Let's see, Angron, you were saying?
Honestly, I can just imagine something like the two Eggmans from Sonic Generations being stuck in the void, just like sitting there contemplating what to do about Sonic, or in this case, the Avengers, or in this case, the Fantastic Four, i.e. Reed Richards. And honestly, just like them working out stuff, like just like thinking and just ultimately sulking and being like, it was totally your fault. No, it's your fault. It's just like a verbal sissy fight ensues.
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
Math.
This match totally checks out because only Doom could beat Doom.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't stop Doom from being Doom.
Exactly. And like I said, the fact we never get to see it, missed opportunity, but regardless. So what happens is basically we then cut to the Fantastic Four back with Richard, Nick, and Stewart, rather, as basically Reed is surprised that Nick was so understanding, as Johnny says how it was because them and the Avengers helped plant trees, before sarcastically remarking how kids only like the Avengers. Gee, I don't think that's commentary on anything at all, do you? But yeah, Reed then talks about how Ben took a risk, as Ben says that he knows Doom better than Dr. Doom himself does, which, again, that's a good line. Like, I will admit, that is actually something Ben Grimm would say. Reed asks Sue what the dinosaur version of Franklin meant by secrets, as she suggests it's probably a difference between their worlds. The comic issue ends with them driving back to New York, and they say that the Baxter Building and their children will return within a month's time. And yeah, basically that is it for the two issues we're talking about. The Fantastic Four 2022 comic book series is still ongoing as of this writing, and seems to be reasonably popular, like I say, as comics are nowadays, probably nowhere near the peaks like the 60s, 70s, 80s or 90s, but they're still probably popular enough. Go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. It didn't really do as much unique stuff, like I said, with the dinosaur things and whatnot, but I ultimately think that wasn't entirely the case. Like, here is a family who is lamenting losing their kids and waiting for a month for them to return. It's a little rough. Like, they're capable, but they don't think they're that capable enough to survive being displaced through time and all that, yada, yada, yada. And that can sometimes weigh on a person's mind for too long, and sometimes it can cause a rift. This felt like a therapy. This felt kind of like therapy for them to just unwind and ultimately do what they do best, be heroes, and ultimately take the time to understand that the best things will come back to them in time. But good lordy, Ben Grimm. What happened to you, man?
The quest for the neck continues.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. 150%. So basically, what happens? So of course, the upcoming Fantastic Four movie. Basically, everybody is very, very interested in the characters now. Finally, because it seems they finally got a good movie coming out now.
Yes.
Yep. So, like I say, hope it turns out really good in that, and that they have.
Yeah.
And then, finally, maybe they'll finally get the good movie that they deserve. But that also brings us to the question of the week, which is basically, what is your favorite Fantastic Four moments? Or rather, basically, what is your favorite Fantastic Four moments? And basically, I'll go first. And I think it was the first time I ever encountered them, which, for me, it wasn't really any of the comic books. It was actually probably the 2005 movie, which I will defend somewhat. Like, is it as good as like Romney's Spider-Man and that? No. But it's really not as bad as its reputation. It has some fun moments in that. I feel like the biggest albatross around its neck, it's not very action oriented. It's a lot more like a more slice of life level stuff, which is good. It's good for like the Fantastic Four, but I feel like they could have used a couple of more villains or a couple more fight scenes or stopping a couple of bank robbers or something like that. But with that being said, that definitely was the first moment I really encountered them as characters, let's say. So that definitely probably is the my favorite as a whole. I also went back and read some of the comics, especially during COVID, and the '60s ones are really, really well done in a lot of ways.
Yes.
And like I say, just such you could really tell why they were the flagship Marvel characters for such a long time. I mean, even Spider-Man, they had to basically backdoor him in through the Fantastic Four at times.
Nice.
They had that whole arc of him trying to join up, but he couldn't, obviously. And like I say, it's something that really, really is interesting, and how popular they were. And like I say, the TV shows and that, and all the spin-offs and stuff. And then just, I don't know, they just kind of faded away, which is very, very strange. But with that, not Doctor Strange, but yeah, with that being said, that's probably going to be my favorite Fantastic Four moment, is probably just being introduced to them for the first time with the 2005 movie. Angron, what would yours be?
Okay, first of all, you just had to remind me of the bombastic bag man. Just, oh my gosh. Second of all, I too was introduced to the Fantastic Four through the movies. Well, okay. Before the movies, Half Moon, Fantastic Four TV series, of which I only saw one episode. And I did catch a comic where it was somewhat their origin, but they faced the Mole Man and Fin Fang Foom, yada, yada, yada. I think my favorite Fantastic Four moment has to be from a series that isn't exactly the Fantastic Four, but just a huge Marvel mashup in general. Marvel's Superhero Squad. I grew up with this show quite a lot, I can tell you that much. Like, I still hold it in high regard to this day. Yeah, the animation's a little off. It recycles editing more than I honestly should. It's home to some of my favorite jokes of this entire series, and one moment in particular where the Superhero Squad meets up with the Fantastic Four. And in this moment, we get some pretty hilarious banter between Hulk and the Thing, or as the Hulk calls him, Talking Rock, which he kind of is, but it starts a little bit of a rivalry between the two. Talking Rock not bad, because Talking Rock not stronger than Hulk. And then the Thing out of nowhere, and then the Thing retorts with, well, you ain't stronger than Think. Ah, great, just great. Now you got me talking like you. God, I love that. Like, Thing is clearly smarter than Hulk, but just moments like that where his Brutus side comes out, it's honestly hilarious, and him being self-aware of that is honestly hilarious. Another two more impressive moments. The first one is where Hulk and the Thing are doing a brag off where, like, Hulk lifted entire building. And the Thing's like, well, one time on Yancey Street, I lifted an entire city block. And then Hulk decides to try and one-up him with, well, Hulk lifted entire superhero city and turned it upside down just for fun. And the Thing's like, I don't remember that. Well, once Hulk had hurt. And the final thing was they're about some plot involving the scrolls and whatnot, yada, yada, yada. But long and short of it, the Fantastic Four and some of the Superhero Squad take a rocket up to space, and the Thing's like, all systems go in 5, 4, 3. And Iron Man is just like, oh, can I call it? And he's like, yeah, knock yourself out, kid. Blast off! Like I said, this show is hilarious, and it is peak Fantastic Four moment, in my opinion. Like, good lordy. That's going to be my pick, the Marvel Superhero Squad.
Yeah, that is a great, great choice right there. It's always...
It sounds really fun.
It's always a good choice when basically... Basically, it's always a good choice whenever you get to see Grimm, whenever you get to see the Thing and Hulk interact. Whenever that
Yeah.
happens, you know gold is going to happen. It actually kind of annoys me that we're probably never going to get to see the MCU do that because they replaced Hulk with Professor Hulk for whatever reason. Yep, shame.
Yeah.
But like I say, that is a great choice right there. So, Math, what would your pick be?
My favorite moments in the Fantastic Four comics series, just any medium of theirs in general, and they tend to do this a good amount when they have a writer that really understands the character, when they humanize Doom. And they show that he's not just this megalomaniac, egomaniac that's doing all of this because, oh, well, I am the greatest thing that's ever existed. I'm doing this because, mwahaha, evil. They give him moments where, like, they've shown that he really cares about the people of Latveria, that he will do anything in his power to protect the country, even at his own detriment. Where he has actually surrendered some power or given things to help the heroes if it's a situation where he realizes he can't win, but with his technology they can. These ideas that show that Doom isn't just the old school Snidely Whiplash film, but there's a lot of depth to him.
Nice.
That really is such a great thing right there. Like you say, it really is good whenever they make like a villain. They don't just make him like a generic mwahaha guy. Exactly like what you said. They really did a good job like with him at times. And, makes me hope that when eventually he gets to the movie, that he turns out like just as good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of something that I learned after watching like the original films in that, because in that series he's just a guy who got powers and was like, oh, I will conquer the world now. But then you see his comic counterpart. It's like there is a reason he's evil, and honestly, it's someone. There's a trope. It's called the well-intentioned extremist.
Yeah.
Like he's actually doing it for his people, but he does it the only way he knows how to. But dooming things. It's in his name, after all.
Nice. But yeah, like I say, that is a great choice right there. Like you say, whenever they really do make the characters good, it really is something else,
Yeah.
Yep, that is a great choice right there. And let's see, Shark, what would your pick be?
Now, it's interesting because just like you, yeah, I was also introduced by the movies, and eventually start to learn more and more a bit about the characters, who they are. And funny enough, I think the things I enjoy the most are 3 fan-made projects that more than anything official, funnily enough. And even more funny enough, they do not feature any of the 4 main characters. It features Silver Surfer, Doctor Doom, and Galactus. And that's their respective death battles.
Nice. That's a great choice.
Yeah. Because, yeah, it's really interesting because they basically, not only do they really showcase their abilities, their powers, and all of that, but the opponents they put them against really represent how well written are these antagonists of the, former antagonists of the series. For example, Doctor Doom, like we mentioned, is a well-intentioned extremist that it's evil because he allegedly thinks it's the best for his people. They pit him against Lex Luthor, who is a complete egomaniac who has a god complex. So we have a villain that is like that. You're almost your typical villain that wants to take over the world, versus a villain that wants to take over the world because he legit believes he wants to make it better. He thinks he is the better person to lead it, not out of ego, but out of a actual belief he can make things better. Yeah. And the other one is Galactus, that they pit him against Unicron of Transformers, that they show that, yeah, they're both planets. They both destroy planets, but Galactus actually does it because he legit has to eat. If he doesn't, he dies, and his existence is dependent of here living, because he's part of the cosmic cycle and all of that. So it's another case of a villain, Unicron, who destroys everything because he wants you. He enjoys killing people, but But Galactus does not. He does it out of... He's a reluctant villain, has to do what he has to do. So those videos give a really good analysis of who they are and why they do what they do.
Yeah, like I say, Death Battle is one of those things that really, really feels almost official in a lot of ways, you know? It just, they really get the characters in ways that, again, like a lot of official things sometimes really miss. It really is something that is amazing, and it's all fan-made, it's all fan content, but yet it just shows how well-made it could be. You get it? It's really something else.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's gonna be my answer.
Great choice. Great choice. And now it is time for the patent-pending Dragoness Scale. We're going to rank not 1, not 2, but 3 characters with Black Widow, Captain Marvel, and Sue Storm. And like usually when we do this, we always give the dinosaurs like different scores and that. But in this time, I'm going to do, or Dragoness rather, when we ever do multiple characters, we give them different scores. But at this time, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm actually going to give both Black Widow and Captain Marvel the same score. And that score is a 6 out of 10 because on one hand, I do like the fact that, they made them unique dinosaurs. They didn't just do like, oh, one's a Stegosaurus and one's a Triceratops. Okay, we're done. Let's wash our hands. But I do like that they actually seem to put thought over what dinosaurs they would be. But the problem is they're not in it for very long, and they don't really do any world building with them. Like, maybe if we got to see them longer, we got like more actual fight scenes or that, and we got like something else with them, but they really just have nothing to work with. It's kind of a shame, but I'm giving them a 6 out of 10. Sue, on the other hand, I'm going to go one higher and give her a 7 out of 10. And the reason for that is because I don't know. I think that, having her as a Triceratops, it does work. She's on for a bit more screen time. Well, not screen time, but she's in the comic a bit longer. And I don't know, you get kind of a feel of her character. Even if it is the same as human Sue Storm, it still feels like we actually know her in a way that we don't really know the other two. So that's going to be my score. It's going to be Black Widow and Captain Marvel get the same score of a 6 out of 10. And Sue gets a 7 out of 10. Angron, what would you give them?
Yeah, I'm also going to give Captain Marvel and Black Widow a 6 out of 10. Like, again, missed opportunity to give them a bit more character outside of just being the Avengers, but dinosaurs. And, like, they're still their personalities, and to each their own. I kind of like Black Widow a bit more than Captain Marvel, but they both honestly don't shine too much, so they're getting a 6 out of 10. Susan Storm as a dinosaur, however, is a bit more interesting, like you said, because, we know her because she can relate to the Susan Storm of the human Earth. And because of that, she gets a bit more relatability, and she basically, she actively helps, and we get to know her a bit more compared to the others. Yeah, it's not for too long, but we'll take what we can get. So I'm absolutely giving her a 7 out of 10 as well.
Nice. That is a good one. Like I say, So anyway, Matthew, what would you give them?
I'm basically in the same exact boat as you guys. So for Black Widow and Captain Marvel, they're both 6s as well. The main issue between all 3 of these characters is that they got about 5 panels and 3 pages each. So that's the main reason it's as low as it is. The bigger problem with Captain Marvel and Black Widow, there's at least I can't figure out why they are the dinosaurs they are. Why is Captain Marvel Lambiosaurus? Why is Black Widow a Quetzalcoatlus? Those don't really match with the themes or ideas of the characters, which is why Sue Triceratops is a 7, because that actually does make sense with her character and her power. So a little bit more thought was put into why she is that dinosaur, and that's why that's a 7 rather than the other 2 being a 6. But this suffers from the main issue that Giganta had from the DC comic that we covered a while ago. They're not there that much. They basically just disappear and we don't see them.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you there. Like I say, it's one of the things that, like I say, they didn't really do anything with the characters as a whole. It really feels like huge missed opportunities, you know? One of those things that really, really, definitely kind of a shame there. So you gave 7 out of 10 to Sue, right?
Yep, 7 out of 10 to Sue, 6 for Captain Marvel and
All
Black
right,
Widow.
and let's see what Shark, what would you give them?
Well, let's see. Black Widow, Captain Marvel. They are in the comic. Yep, that's about it I have for them. So I'll be also giving them a 6. And Sue, at least she gets more to do. Her dinosaur, and as Matt pointed out, there is a reason they went with that dinosaur. She obviously has more dialogue and gets more into the action when fighting the Avengers and trying to fight Doom. So okay, she gets something to do and more interaction between their counterparts and all of that. So yeah, she gets an 8.
Wow, pretty good. But like I said, so really consistent this week. That is surprising. I think that's sometimes almost a surprise was when they all get like perfect scores in that. You know, always a interesting thing. So yep, that's going to be it for this week. If you have any questions, or if you want to suggest how you would improve the MCU by having all the characters as dinosaur versions of themselves, which definitely would be an improvement at this point, you can feel free to email us at fiorydiscourse@outlook.com. Visit us at Twitter at twitter.com/fiorydiscourse. Visit us at Blue Sky at Blue Sky Fiery Discourse. Be sure to subscribe to the Fiery Discourse YouTube channel, subscribe to the playlist, like and hit the bell icon, leave a comment. Any all comments are appreciated. Also, one of our co-hosts, Lucky Evie, is looking to move to a group home in the UK that will also be in the description. Any and all help for that will also be appreciated. Next week, we're going to be talking about something a bit different out of our wheelhouse because we're going to be talking about the 1981 spoof movie, Caveman, starring none other than Ringo Starr. Yes, that Ringo Starr. Yep. Definitely going to be a very, very fun time. You know, a lot of fun stop motion dinosaurs and that. So be a lot of fun to see that kind of thing and watch a pretty silly movie. You know, it's definitely a very, very comedy movie. I figured nice lighthearted thing in that. But that'll be it for this week. And until then, thank you all for watching and take care.
Laters.
Adios.
Peace out.
Bye bye.
See you all next week for Dinosaur starring Ringo Starr.